As you fold your fingers into a fist, you realize you could knock anyone out with one punch. The white ceramic gloves wrap around your digits comfortably. Your movements cause tiny little clicks, like dice rolling somewhere far away, as the plates reorient to your motions. The hardened vitreous enamel, at once sleek and light, adds a glow to your cheeks and a spring to your step. Just imagine what a full suit of this stuff could do for you. 2. Are you sure you're correct there? There was a helmet too. 3 pieces more like. You were ambitious. It may be a while before you have all the pieces. In the meantime, you should analyze the armor. Figure out its vulnerabilities. Remember, this is a highly specialized kinetic redistributor meant to stop bullets. Wear it. Observe its properties. See if there's a weakness in the design. For the day you have to fight someone covered in the same material. Wait. Take a longer look at yourself and how you're reflected in that slick chemical rainbow. What do you see? Metaphor. It's always metaphor. This is more important than you. That's the blood of industry you see before you. The runoff from Coal City, further down the coast. The engines of fortune once roared here. Great wealth poured into Revachol, the Delta, as did smoke, waste, sickness, life. The engines stopped. The West Revacholian industrial base was dismantled after the war. Now, extinguished coke furnaces dot the landscape, a landscape despoiled by industry. Yes, fortune left you too, leaving only pharmaceuticals and a subpar service-based industry. Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. Many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé. Also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene la Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. The DeLorean era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Riel Belt. As did we all. The lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even far away Supremawindi, altogether 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time, immediately accepted inauthentic rule, even before her crowning. In a city called Advesperaskit, she was dressed in a white and pearl dress. Oh yes, midwinter snow. One of the men, something that Dolores, this inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology, the highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate inauthentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she was the most socially, the Mesk state suggesting she adored chess. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreighter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? That she is. A great sacred piece. I wonder what we are doing here, however. In this church, I mean. The coast in general. We shouldn't linger. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a light motif below them both. Unknown. A motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world.
Death? Like this exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. Justice, union, prudence, and force. So do I.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Dolorian Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches. We should be
Respectful is the lieutenant.
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. It's not spiritual, it's constitutional.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. This is the machine's filament memory. Press play to access its contents. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good morning, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol.
Still no. I am contractually
I'm afraid we are not doing that.
Now, can you please repeat? Received. I will register this log. Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? I have 2 machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brune, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brune, that's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghislaine? That's the doomed commercial area.
Anything else I can help you with? Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. Nothing happens. The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone, almost all of it, but for the faintest of hums. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual. Sounds like the pale. From recordings of the far pale. You've heard them. We all have. You can hardly hear your own breathing. Your voice is barely. You produce a few muffled thumps. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes.
Can you hear anything? I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises. The lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense him. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin. There's nothing. You're dizzy and disoriented as you see dark and more dark rising.
Officer, what are you looking at?
Filled with vague shapes. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it. Is that a man? Looks more like part of the carpentry of the building came alive and is now studying you intently. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamrock. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Revachol.
I'm here to receive the mother's love. You can too, Holmes. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of that despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality. Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Oh yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here. Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc Albino is wrecking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? "'Tis not an act, my liege, save him perchance he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot."
Never known myself to be a crab, but if that's the name you got for me, I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique.
That's not the only technique he's working on. Look at those carved sculptures. And is that a satchel of tools over there?
Sure am. Whittling wood used to be something I just did to busy my hands. Now I use those same hands in service of something greater than my own restlessness.
All right, let's consider the context and meaning here.
It's all just for the mother, man. No need to overthink it. I was in a gang way, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. That's not really the point, I say. You gotta give yourself over to service. Service of the mother, that is.
Do you remember your name, sir?
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. I think they were. A long time ago. I had to shed them like skins to get closer to the center of the silence. You could have them. I don't need them anymore. No, no, no. There's a new god in town, and she can't be painted or sculpted because she has no limb or even a face. She is the end. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, eh? It didn't belong to me. It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I know I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I ain't from no Marietti, if that's what you're thinking. And the song I sing is silent as the mother.
Marietti is a mesque style of music and dance, commonly seen at all manner of festivities, especially weddings. It's delightfully quaint, owing to the sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into
Police red.
Did you witness?
Not really. Or at least the ones in the tent outside. Right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway. Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company. Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa.
Viejita is grandma?
No, I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear.
Wait, what if it's Ruby?
Did it ever seem to you like she was hiding here from something?
You mean like a fugitive? No, man. Quite the opposite. I don't think she cared much about authority or anything else for that matter. Maybe only about her machines.
I see. And where is she now?
I told you, Holmes. I don't know. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or... Too many times, Essay. You need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity La Nilita Pequeña when I hear it. I think we're done here, Essay.
That was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure whether we'll find our suspect here.
Hey, her Innocence Dolores Day liked little figurines, right? Liked holding little men between her fingers, remember? You have the headless Falcon Rider figurine. You should give it to her. Win her back. So very, very, very nifty. Nifty and mysterious. This is surely what the figurines are for. The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex wax painting on a single pane of glass. A crack runs across the length of her body, her face oval and sad. Why? That does seem to be a problem. Maybe you meant something else? I don't know. What are we thinking of? Part of your mind has gone on to other things already. The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting